My name is Marla, and the social problem I chose to do my presentation on is child abuse. I chose this problem because the population I want to work with is children, especially children who have gone through trauma. Child abuse is a major social problem which affects many people both personally and socially. Child abuse is damaging to the victims involved and has a detrimental effect on society. Child abuse obviously is a major social problem because of the effect it has on the victims, and not only that, but the effects that it has on society. Child abuse is a serious problem in America. Nearly 700,000 children are abused in the U.S. each year. An estimated 678,000 children were victims of abuse and neglect in 2018. The most recent year for which there's national data, that's about 1% of kids in a given year. However, this data may be incomplete and the actual number of children abused is likely underreported. The reports of child abuse are most likely underreported because children, it can be very hard to see when a child is abused, and that can cause it to be not reported or a solution not found, or there may not be enough proof to prove that the child has been abused. Child abuse is both a social and personal problem that is detrimental to the quality of life of the individual. Child abuse is both a social and personal problem, as it not only affects the victim but society as a whole. A social problem is any problem that's negative consequences affects a large amount of people. The detrimental effects of child abuse make it a social problem. Poverty, drug use, and mental health all impact the social problem of abuse. So child abuse is not just a problem in itself. There are many problems that affect child abuse and affect where child abuse and how it is seen. Quality of life. Child abuse comes in many forms, including physical abuse, sexual abuse, and emotional abuse. All these forms of abuse are detrimental to the child's quality of life. Children who grow up in a substantial environment have a much greater chance of success in their future lives. Child abuse is a social problem because it has a negative consequence on many people. Obviously, the effects of this child abuse is detrimental to a child's life, and physical abuse can obviously cause physical harm such as broken bones and stuff like that. And sexual abuse, although that one is the hardest to recognize, oftentimes has most detrimental effects on children. And emotional abuse is another form of abuse that can be hard to identify because it's hidden a lot of times, and therefore it can be hard to understand when a child is going through emotional abuse. Children who are victims of abuse face physical and emotional trauma, which leads to a lesser quality of life. Other costs include failing academically and can lead to adult criminality and lifelong mental health problems. All these directly and indirectly affect the health of society. So obviously children who go through abuse face a lot of trauma, which can also lead to anxiety, PTSD, depression, which then can lead to drug use, suicide, and this all affects the quality of life. Child abuse is a social problem that is surrounded by many lies and fallacies. Some people believe victims of child abuse cannot grow up to live a successful life. This is the fallacy of a retrospective determinism. This is false because individuals who are victims can work through the struggles and live a healthy and successful life. There are resources available to help individuals work through their trauma and heal from the pain. So many people may say that a victim of child abuse cannot escape from the cycle of abuse or escape from or heal from that trauma, but that is a lie because victims of child abuse definitely can. There are resources available to assist with the problem of child abuse on a social and personal level. One of the best known resources for protecting children is the Children's Protective Services. This service's main goal is to protect the safety and well being of children in their respective communities. When a case is reported, social workers and law enforcement officers are responsible for pursuing the case and investigating what needs to be done to help the child. I believe everybody probably knows about Child Protective Services, and obviously, they do a lot in the community to help children who have been abused or who are being abused, and ultimately do what's best for the child in their best interest. On a personal level, there are resources such as crisis prevention, counseling, and other services. These help a victim of child abuse work through the effects of the abuse and recover so that they can live a good quality of life. Overall, child abuse is a major problem in the United States, and understanding the causes, effects, and solutions to child abuse is an important step in helping the victims. Obviously, we cannot completely get rid of child abuse, but there's always things we can do to help find solutions and see child abuse less and less. Understanding what causes child abuse definitely helps us get to the problem. And like I said earlier, poverty, drug abuse, and mental illness is a big cause of child abuse. Child abuse is both a social and personal problem that is detrimental to the quality of life of the individual. Obviously, people who have gone through trauma experience detrimental effects on their quality of life, and child abuse is definitely causes a lot of trauma, and this can lead to a lesser quality of life. There are lies and fallacies surrounding the idea of child abuse, and understanding these can help us work towards finding a solution to the problem. Although there are a lot of resources available, there is still a lot that we can do to help victims of child abuse. Children who are victims of child abuse deal with health problems, trauma, PTSD, and depression. These are detrimental to the quality of life to that individual all the way into adulthood. Children who have gone through abuse still experience trauma and these problems all the way into adulthood. And that is another reason why it's so important that we help children and get them out of this situation. Although there are resources available to prevent and keep children safe from abuse, there's a lot that still needs to be done to find a solution to this problem. So obviously, child abuse is a major social problem in America, and there's a lot that affects child abuse and how it is seen in society, and there's a lot that still needs to be done to help children and help victims who have gone through child abuse. Thank you.